Allow me to admit, I have never owned a car that is less than 12 years of age. Yes, 12 full years. It has been driven by other people for 12 good years. My first car, actually, I was able to buy it for 350,000. A blue Volkswagen Golf automatic petrol car, a 1.6 liter engine, not the most fuel efficient, but one of the most reliable cars. And I enjoyed that car and I will take it to places where some of you could not even take your city 4x4 vehicles. This car was hardy. This car was strong. This car would take me everywhere I wanted to go. In fact, it had gone to most places in Kenya. The car never left me on the road. In fact, I use it and I enjoy it so much that I used to call it Papa. And I did not even sell it. I handed it over to family. That was my first car. It was actually a 15-year-old car. The second one was a 12-year-old car. And it was a diesel manual. And it was gold in color. Beautiful car. Still own it to date. It was even cheaper than that. And the reason I'm telling you this is because a lot of people have the perception or the thought that only new cars are worth having. If you buy the right kind of car, and I have given a list of what to look for when you're buying a car, you will be able to enjoy the utility of a car with a lot less money, with a lot less pressure, and that is what we are going to talk about. Why should you buy a 12-year-old, 15-year-old car plus? Why? The first reason is they hold value. The thing is, a new car loses value by 15% once it goes out of the showroom. Just stepping out of the showroom, 15% of the value has gone down. You cannot take it back to the showroom for reselling at the same price. It has already lost value. Then in the next 3 years, it loses value further down by more than 30%, meaning that if you are going to resell that vehicle, you will not even be able to sell at that price. You buy a car for 3 million, for example, cash, brand new car, showroom car. Then you drive it for 3 years, you cannot even be able to sell it for 2 million Kenya shillings. You have already lost 33% of the value. They lose value very fast. Now think about it. If you're going to buy it in the third year, for example, use it for 2 years and then sell it. You might find the price between the 2 million in the third year when you paid for it and the fifth year when you're selling it might actually have lost like only 10%. So value goes down, but in decreasing amounts over the years. So a 12-year-old might actually sell the same price as a 14-year-old car. So prices hold value when the car is a lot older. So why are you losing value, giving away money when you could actually keep this money? Remember, a car, by all intentions and purposes, is take you from point A to point B. All these other things are just flowers. Whether it has new paint job is just a flower, is an added thing. And these other things you can actually be able to add them at your comfort. An old car allows you to be able to have the utility of a car without spending an arm and a leg, and especially on depreciation. The other thing is they don't take money that should be invested elsewhere. So this is money that you could have invested elsewhere, that could have given you a return. You could have bought a bond. So why should you buy, for example, we buy two vehicles. One is the same size, the same utility, the same engine size, everything. One is 10 years younger, but 2 million shillings. The next one is 10 years older, but is going to be sold at 500,000. So this 1.5 million, if you put that extra amount into a bond, it could give you an extra of 15,000 Kenya shillings or $150 every month. Money that you're living at the table, but you're still driving a car. That is the beauty of having your money invested in something that is not depreciating faster than you can imagine. So money that you could be investing should not be taken and put in a car that will depreciate just because it's a newer car faster than like the way we had actually discussed. The other thing is it is cheaper to insure. If you're going to take a full comprehensive cover, it is a percentage of the value of the car. So if the car has a higher value, then you pay a higher amount of insurance. For example, if it is 1 million and it is 4%, like is in most cases in Kenya, around the same amount for comprehensive insurance, you may end up paying 40,000 per year for the 1 million valued car. But if it is valid for, say, 500,000, for example, then you pay 20,000 Kenya shillings. So you pay half of the cost in insurance just because the value of the car is down. So why should you be paying a lot more insurance when you could be paying a lot less insurance? In fact, because it's an old car, you do not have too much value attached to it. In fact, you're not overly emotional to it. In fact, you do not start thinking about where do I park it? Will it be scratched? Or thugs? Or this? Or that? So you don't even need to take a comprehensive insurance. You can take the one for 5,000 third-party insurance that allows you to be on the road and to pay the person that you actually inflict any form of accident or injury on. Third-party insurance, you can be able to take it because the value of the car does not give you emotional attachment to the car. So that is the other beauty about a cheap car. The other thing is, of course, what you've mentioned, low theft risk. I know of somebody who actually left a car in an airport in Nairobi for years. The person left, then they could not be able to come back and get their car because of COVID and other things that happened in between. The car was left there. The car stayed and stayed and stayed. The reason it stayed is because it was not attractive to any person who is looking and seeing this car has stayed here for a long time. It was actually a lot more expensive for pay the parking fees and the value of the car. And the guy could actually leave the car to be repossessed. Why? You do not attach too much value to the car. And so because you do not have too much value in the eyes, in your own eyes, it doesn't have too much value in the eyes of the thieves or potential thieves. Thieves do not steal old cars. They do not steal old equipment. They do not steal old phones. They do not steal things that are going to be a lot more costs to steal than what they are going to be paid if they are going to resell it at a value. And remember, they sell at a percentage of the value of that item because it is stolen. And so your old car will never be attractive to thieves. In fact, you can park it any downtown location in town and not be worried about it. But if you have a new car, you're always constantly worried. In fact, several people actually move houses. Think about it. You buy a car, it's supposed to give you some comfort, but then you have to move because you are uncomfortable, because the places that you are actually living is now uncomfortable because your car might be stolen. People move estates because they have a new car, not necessarily because they want to move to a new estate, but because they feel this estate is no longer as safe because now they could be a target because they have a newer car. A new car brings expenses that you never imagined, but an old car will never make you think that it might be stolen. In fact, your life may actually not change as much. The other thing is social expectations. We are Africans. We come from communities. In fact, most people expect you to give a lending hand. Most people will invite you for harambes and social contributions. And when you come driving in a big car, you have bigger expectations. People assume that you're going to give a lot more than the average Joe. In fact, they expect you to give as a mgeni mheshimiwa, as a person of honor, because you're driving a big car, whether it is on loan and you're paying every cent of your salary towards the loan of this car, it does not matter. In fact, for them, because you have the car, you must have the might, because you cannot have the might to have such a car on the road. Social expectation. All of a sudden, your uncle's cousin's brother now wants you to educate their children because you have a car. Expectation, social expectation, but an old car, people will just brush it off. Ah, this guy just thought of an old car. Social expectations go down when you have an old car. So you do not have to contend with a lot of pleasing and a lot of expectation. In fact, people don't ask you for lifts when you have an old car. People don't even ask you to give them the car to drive. You see the way people are always skeptical when somebody asks you, can you give me your car so that I can go up country? You lend your car. People do not borrow old cars. And especially when those old cars come with manual gearboxes that they do not understand. Old cars have a lot of advantages. No one will borrow you. Thieves will not steal from you. So social expectations will go down. The other thing is cosmetic issues. Your child comes and scratches it. It will never give you a sleepless night if it is an old car. You will always be like, fine, it is broken, fine, it is scratched, but is it moving? Are we going? Are the lights working? Let's go. It does not give you a sleepless night. It does not cause you to stay and park in a place where you're afraid of scratches and things like that, because it's an old car. It is bound to have scratches, it's bound to have imperfections, so it does not really matter. The other thing is, of course, the emotional state of your well-being when you have an old car. When you have a new car, you are in constant fear. I remember there's somebody who, we lived in the same neighborhood, he bought a new car. And because every time he felt that this car was so valuable and so expensive and he was paying a lot of money for it, he always felt like people are following him to be able to carjack him. He always had that a thing of thinking and fear, or thinking that, oh, this car has followed me for a while, maybe they want to come and hijack me, or I can't come home late because I might be hijacked on the way out, or a car drives in and the guy has to peep out of the window to look at the car. A certain emotional burden of having a new car. Have an old car, my friends, it will not matter. It will be like your old village donkey. You will not be worried about it. Buy a horse, you will always constantly thinking, where is it? I paid a lot of money for it. But because it's a donkey or an old car, you will not think about it. In fact, you will even sleep more soundly and not even have imaginations of it being stolen. You will not have nightmares of people coming and hijacking you because of your new car. An old car is something that is going to give you a peace of mind. These days, the other reason is these days, cars are made to last and last and last. My first car was 172,000 kilometers. 10,000 of those years before I bought it, it was driven in Kenya. And we know Kenyans are not the most nicest people as regards to maintenance. They only take a car when it is making a noise or cannot even move. That is when it goes to the garage. They do not take time to take care of their cars. So if a 172,000 kilometer car was able to serve me for years and years and years, for kilometers and kilometers and kilometers. In fact, I drove for 50,000 kilometers before I handed it over to someone else. It was able to serve me correctly. I've had the other car was 138,000 kilometers. It has served me. You do not need to buy a car because it has a low mileage and assume that it's going to last a long time. Maybe it was parked under a tree for years and years because of constant repair. So an old car these days and new and cars these days are made to last even 30 years. There is a car, a Volvo, that has been able to take to go 1,000,000 miles. 1,000,000 miles is equivalent to 1.6 million kilometers. It has gone so much in the odometer that it has started from zero again. So cars are lasting a long, long time. So don't start thinking, oh, it will not take me, it will not do this, it will not do this. If you buy right and able to check a few things that I have mentioned in the video that I will put up here, then you have no worry about whether that car will work. Try an old car and enjoy some sort of peace, serenity, and these benefits that I've actually mentioned. If you have any other benefit, please remember to put it in the comment section. Like this video and keep tuned for more endless videos. Thank you and enjoy your day.